Today I'll be interviewing Alan LeMay, a team member of Exponential Philanthropy. Exponential Philanthropy is a corporation set up to organise and aid funding of social enterprise. Considered the big gift specialist throughout the industry, Exponential Philanthropy raises millions of dollars each year for the not-for-profit sector in Australia and New Zealand. I'll be interviewing on behalf of a group from Griffith University studying Introduction to Social Enterprise, who are currently looking into the funding of social enterprises in Queensland. Firstly, thank you very much, Alan, for giving up your time today to talk to us.
That's good, that's fine, thank you.
Let's begin with some general questions about the company. How was Exponential Philanthropy founded/created?
It's about 15, 16 years old. Two gentlemen working independently as consultants to the not-for-profit sector, just decided that they wanted to do things a certain way and focus particularly on big gift philanthropy, and so they joined forces and created Exponential, and since then it's grown from an office in Brisbane and an office in Perth to now having offices in Melbourne and offices in New Zealand. And we are looking at expanding our offices even beyond Australia, possibly London, Singapore, somewhere like that at the moment. So it is a growing concern.
Okay, yep. And how many people are involved?
I think
quite a large team.
Yeah, there is. There's probably about 25 people involved in the organisation around the country. Most of them would be consultants, similar roles to myself, but then there is a backup team of administrative and support people that do different functions for us as well.
Yeah, and what's your particular job?
I'm a senior consultant, so I direct fundraising campaigns, liaise directly with Exponential's clients and set up the campaign and manage it and coordinate various other staff around the running of a campaign.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And how did you get into this unique business?
Well, that's a good question, and like most careers, they kind of go on there's a journey there that's probably not planned. Yeah. This is an example of that. Yeah. But I was an executive director of a not-for-profit organisation with a very large fundraising responsibility. I learned about fundraising in that context, and then had the opportunity to go out into this consultancy role, which just allowed me more diversity. I was attracted to it because I'm no longer working with one organisation. The organisations I work with are quite different, and I find that quite stimulating.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good. Let's move on and focus on the funding for the not-for-profit sector. So overall, where does the money come from? Like government, community?
Well, the money that we're involved in raising is, it doesn't involve government funding really at all. We sit apart from that. We look for funding from individuals, corporate groups and philanthropic trusts and foundations. That's our focus. When we work with a client, we're helping them raise funds from those sources. Often a client will have government grants providing the funds they need to do some of the work, and then we're involved in fundraising to then raise money for a specific aspect of what they want to do.
Yeah. So of the funding received, what would be the average statistics of who gives more of?
Well, I think probably the government probably would be the biggest financial provider when it comes to delivering social and community services across the non-government organisations. I think after that it would be it would boil down to individuals, and possibly they're pulling maybe some money from their businesses, or they've set up trusts and private trusts and foundations they're moving money through. But there is many millions of dollars distributed by individuals to not-for-profit organisations.
Okay. So how is the money distributed?
Well, that would be determined by the board of directors for the individual social and community service organisations.
So they're the ones who decide bonus.
Yeah, we have no say. The only say we would have is when we're setting up a fundraising campaign, we have to make sure that the message we're giving to the donor community about what's going to happen to the money is accurate.
Yeah.
We can't bend the truth there just to make it look more attractive. So we would have some role in setting that up at the front end of a fundraising campaign.
Okay, yeah. So what specifically do you mean by big gifts? Like what amount?
Well, I guess at the smaller end, when we drop a campaign, the smallest donation that we would factor into our plan would be $10,000.
Okay.
And we then move to the top end of our campaign. We'd be looking for a $1 million gift.
Yeah.
So our campaigns are always more than $1 million. So occasionally we'll take on a smaller campaign, but that's not our core business. Our core business starts at raising $1 million and upwards for an organisation.
Yeah. So from looking at your website, and as you were saying, to raise up to $10 million for a not-for-profit organisation is phenomenal. How do you go about getting such large amounts of?
We use a peer-to-peer leveraging philosophy, and so what that means is that we look at individuals getting involved in the fundraising project, and then we ask them to not only make a gift themselves but help us get 2 or 3 others from their network of friends and associates. So we would start with the inner circle of the organisation, usually it's directors or it's current donors. We identify key people there, get them involved, and then begin to work our way outwards from there. And we would design pathways till we get relationally to people of very high net worth. We also have to match people of high net worth with the organisation's philosophy and its project. So we want to know before we approach someone, is this the kind of thing that they're interested in? High net worth individuals, generally speaking, do want to support things. They do want to give money away. They feel a sense of community responsibility to help. But they want to target it towards the things that they're passionate about and believe in, and support organisations that are consistent with their value base. So it's up to us as professionals to try to match that up and make sure. And so once we've got all that matched up, it's just a simple case of creating the most appropriate way to go and ask that person to support this cause. And we would ask very specifically for an amount of money. Sometimes it could be $1 million that we ask for. But there are philanthropists around who that's very much part of their framework. That's what they like to do.
Yeah. Alrighty. So obviously, depending on how many donations and the value of donations you receive, depends on how long it takes to reach a certain target. So on average, what amount of time would be needed to raise, for example, like 5 million?
Yeah, 5 million is a small to medium campaign, and we would initially set up a plan for about 18 months.
Okay.
Now that depends on a number of factors though. And so when we first engage with a client, we do a campaign readiness assessment. We'd spend 2 to 3 months working with the client and their network of support, trying to get a handle on what the potential is. And then we would report back to them what we think we can do. Now, if it's going to go ahead from that point, an 18-month program would be a normal expectation. But sometimes we come back to them and say, look guys, you're not ready to launch in a campaign properly. You've got to do these things first. You've got to get some things sorted out in your organisation. Your reputation, your public image, those kinds of things have to be sorted before we can move forward. So we would maybe give them 6 months to do that, which would turn an 18-month campaign into a 2-year campaign. One of my campaigns at the moment is a $12 million campaign that I'm running, and that's got to go over 24 months. So that's the kind of time frames we're talking about.
Okay, So one final question. Can you tell us about some not-for-profit organisations you have supported already?
Yeah, my current client load is 3 key groups. We're working with Anglicare. We're raising $6 million to construct a purpose-built building for homeless women. And I have another contract with the Australian Academy of Science to raise $12 million so that they can release educational materials into schools and generally run a campaign to get young people excited about science again. The university entrance levels for science has dropped off and they want to deal with that. And Wilderness Society is my other client.
Okay.
They've got several environmental campaigns that are on the go and they need to resource those financially. And so I'm working with them to develop fundraising programs that will actually support those environmental campaigns.
Okay, excellent. All right, well this brings us to the end of the interview. So thank you very much once again for Alan for allowing us to talk to you. You've really opened our eyes into the funding behind social enterprises and exponential philanthropy in particular. So we really appreciate you giving up your time and we wish you all the best for your future.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.